Hello, and welcome to the Maybe I Can podcast. I'm your host, Debbie Weiss, and thank you so much for joining me today. So, today we're going to continue our series of new sprinkles that we're discussing. And today's is a doozy, the sprinkle of forgiveness. Forgiveness. Boy, that's a tough one. So many of us, I think, are carrying this emotional weight that we don't even realize that we're carrying, but we are. And what is that weight? It's not physical weight that I'm talking about here, but I'm talking about things like carrying resentment, disappointment, guilt, frustration, blame, right? Over time, that emotional weight, it begins to shape how we move through life. And that's why today I want to talk about forgiveness. Not forgiveness as forgetting, not forgiveness as pretending that something was okay, but forgiveness as release. Because forgiveness is not approving or forgetting or excusing or pretending. It really is emotional freedom that you're giving yourself. It is that release of guilt, that release of weight. And really, when you forgive, you're choosing peace for yourself. Because forgiveness is not about changing the past. It's about really changing your relationship to it. Sometimes we might need to forgive ourselves or other people, circumstances, life itself, right? Or unmet expectations. Let's start with self-forgiveness. I can tell you that I have tried over many decades to show up as being everything to everyone. I wanted to make sure everyone was okay. I was carrying everything. I was carrying everybody's problems. I'm the kind of person that you tell me that you're struggling with something. You don't even ask me for a solution, but all of a sudden, I feel like I have to solve it. And if I can't, then I blame myself and I wonder what's wrong with me. Why wasn't I able to fix that problem? When I'm also trying to be everything to everyone, I'm managing everything. I'm really trying to control everything, hold everything together, hold everyone together, and just be there all the time for everyone. And when I couldn't, what happened? I blamed myself. I felt guilty, and I feel like I was a failure. I spent a lot of years believing I should have been able to do more. And then at some point, you have to forgive yourself for being human. Because I always felt like I should be Superwoman, that I need to be there and take care of everyone else and manage everything. I'm not Superwoman, and I hate to break it to you, neither are you. We are human, and it is okay to not be there and not show up 24/7 for everyone else. Sometimes forgiveness begins when we stop holding ourselves to these impossible standards. And really, who created these impossible standards? You did, and I did. It's in our own mind. And we have the power to then release that guilt. Release the fact that you're walking around blaming yourself. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's just sometimes when I kind of have that realization, I can't remember the first time that I realized that I was walking around with anger about a situation, maybe towards a person. And who was it hurting? It's only hurting ourselves. So many times I think something happens and you walk around with this heaviness, and the other person doesn't think about it after it happens. But yet now you're carrying the weight of that guilt or whatever it is. And when you don't realize it, and then all these different situations where you're blaming yourself or you're resenting someone else or you're saying that life is unfair, those things are inside of us. Like I said in the opening, this is how our lives are shaped by these experiences. And when we learn to forgive whoever, whatever it is, it's amazing how much lighter we feel and really how much happier we are. Instead of carrying these horrible feelings inside of us, maybe you're carrying guilt that you might not even realize about some parenting mistake that you made or a career decision. Saying the wrong thing. Oh my goodness. How many times have I replayed that in my head, right? Not doing enough, feeling behind. And then what do? We punish ourselves for really simply being human. Think about how much emotional energy you're spending replaying what we wish we had done differently. I mean, I think we all do it, but we've got to let it go. We've got to let it go. All right, maybe you wished you did show up differently. You said the wrong thing. Learn from it. That's it. Learn from it, move on, and let it go. So many times we have unrealistic expectations, and that creates resentment. You think to yourself, I should have been able to handle this, or should understand, or you feel like this should actually be easier and it's not, or I should be further along with whatever it is, and life should look differently by now. You're walking around feeling all of these feelings that are weighing so heavily on your mind. A lot of resentment is simply reality colliding with expectation. So a lot of resentment is simply reality colliding with expectation. Your expectations, right? Maybe I should be healing faster, whether that's emotional healing or physical healing. Or you're expecting people to show up differently. Or you're expecting yourself to perform perfectly. And when the reality doesn't meet the expectation, that's where there's resentment. I feel like I was probably in my 40s when I came to terms with the fact that for 20 plus years, I had been resenting my mother, and I didn't even realize it. So, if you've been listening and you know my story, I became a caregiver to my father. He had a stroke when he was almost 46, and I was 17. And there's a long backstory, but basically, my mother decided that after my father had the stroke, that she wanted a divorce. And that sounds cruel, but there's a backstory. My father had cheated on my mother, had an affair several years earlier. Eventually, they got through it and they got back together. My mother was only 39 years old when this happened. And I can't speak for her, but now on this side, since I've worked through this, I realized that my mother chose to get divorced, and I completely understand. Because of that decision, I became my father's caregiver for the next 30 years. And I resented my mother for that for a very long time. I felt that she was being selfish. She wasn't thinking about me. And her decision changed my life. It changed my life because at 17, And really, I would say more so around 21, that was it. They were divorced. And now who was going to take care of my father? That changed my life, right? I was incredibly young. All of a sudden, I had all these responsibilities. I didn't understand this was all new to me at such a young age. Therapy and doctors and how he was going to live on Social Security and disability insurance and understanding Medicaid and Medicare. And there was just so many things. And then, of course, just actually having to take care of him and worry about him and pay his bills and be there to do his food shopping or take him to doctor's appointments or take him to holidays and just so many different things. And I resented being in that position. And I resented my mother because I felt like she put me in that position by her choosing to get divorced. When I realized that I was really hurting myself by carrying this resentment towards my mother for such a long time. And how did I actually let this go? Honestly, it was through therapy. I saw a therapist. I didn't realize what this was doing to me. And I think once I was older, I had a different perspective. And I know that my mother was certainly not thinking, and I can't blame her. She wasn't thinking, oh my goodness, this is what I'm going to do to my daughter. No, she was not thinking that at all. She was making a decision that was best for her at the time, and she didn't just dump my father on the street somewhere. She made sure first that he had a place to live and was settled and all the things. She did all the right things. I don't think at the time she really realized what kind of responsibilities this was going to put on me. And it took me a long time to come to terms with this. And once I finally did, it really changed my life. It did. It changed my attitude towards my mother, made me a happier, lighter person. Releasing, it was such a release. Sometimes forgiveness means grieving the life that you thought you would have, right? Because 17, 21, whatever it is, you're on the cusp of adulthood and you have all these dreams. And look, I'm not saying that because of caregiving that my life was ruined. No, now looking back, I can see all that it gave me. It changed me for the better, and it gave me confidence. I found my voice. I realized how capable I was. It really changed me. But was that the life at 17 that I was envisioning? Of course not. How could I ever be prepared for anything like that? Right? Life just throws these circumstances that life does not unfold as neatly as we would like it to. And when it doesn't, many times we resent that. I had that resentment toward my mother, but maybe it's just resentment towards life, the life that we thought we should have. And when it doesn't unfold that way, now we walk around having this resentment, and all it's doing is hurting us. You might feel resentment because of caregiving roles that you did not expect to be in, or financial responsibilities now that you have. Health struggles, you could have resentment towards divorce, or parenting challenges, or responsibilities that you never chose. Sometimes what needs forgiving isn't a person, it's the circumstances. And right now, I can tell you that talking about something that I'm dealing with now, that I need to practice forgiveness. And it's very recent and it's very raw, and I'm not through it yet. This is happening in real time. 2 weeks ago, I found out, and if you've been listening, maybe you know that my day job is that I am an insurance agent for a big company. And I've been an agent now for 31 years. And it was announced a couple of weeks ago that we're losing all of our benefits. But even worse, I would say, is that my income is going to be cut by 40%. There's a way to earn back that 40%. We're not told. We have an idea of what it is, but we don't know the specifics. And based on past experience, I would say that my chances of earning back the 40% are slim to none. If I'm able to earn back 20%, that would actually be amazing. And I am mad. I am mad. I've given 31 years to this company. For 31 years, I've been paid a certain way. And now you're pulling the rug out from under me. This is my second career. I was a CPA for 10 years. I moved, I changed my life. I don't want to say I've given my whole life, but I have to the company, to my customers. And now here's all these changes happening that I didn't choose. I certainly don't agree with. And I'm resentful. I am. The other thing is that I felt that I had security, that I could not lose my job unless I lied, cheated, or stole. And another part of the revelation or these announcements was that basically the company could fire you now at any time with or without reason. And I can't believe that this far into my career, all of a sudden now I don't have security. I have lost my benefits. My income is being dropped by such a high percentage. And I just wish things were different. And it's forcing me to ask myself a hard question. Do I want to spend my energy replaying what should be, what I think should be, or responding to what is? And as I'm recording this episode, it's 2 weeks since I've learned this. And I have been through a series of emotions, replaying different options. And I've finally come to a place. I don't know if I can say that I've completely, if I'm being honest, that I have completely forgiven the company. I'm trying. But I've realized that for 2 weeks, I've walked around with so much anger and resentment. And I got to let that go because this is now my new reality. And I've got to figure out how to respond to it. And wasting my energy, feeling this anger and resentment, what is that going to do? Who is that going to hurt? It's only hurting me. It happened. I don't think it's fair. I don't agree with it. But I got to let that go because it is what it is now, and I have to figure out what my next steps are. And maybe for you, it's something similar about something that's happened at work or an organization or transitions that we never asked for. I know I certainly never asked for this transition. And sometimes forgiveness is releasing the expectation that life should have unfolded differently. But I am actively practicing forgiveness. So what are some signs that you might notice that shows you that you are carrying unforgiveness? Here's some examples of things that you might currently be doing. You replay certain situations over and over again in your mind. Maybe you're mentally arguing with the past, or you keep revisiting blame, you're emotionally stuck, or you feel drained just thinking about it. Are you feeling any of those things? Can you relate to any of those? The situation may be over, right? But emotionally, you could still be living there. So, what does forgiveness look like practically? Well, forgiveness looks like noticing, right? Every single thing starts with realizing and being aware that you're doing it. Sometimes it is just so rote, you don't even know it's happening. So notice the replay. Question the expectation, that unrealistic expectation that you think that you should be superwoman or whatever that is. Loosen that grip of control. We talk about control so much, trying to control people and situations. And continually remember choosing peace. Oh my goodness, it really changes everything. Forgiveness is rarely one decision, right? It's not a one-time thing. It's a constant practice or process. It's that repeated release because situations always come up, right? So it's something you need to practice over and over again. And sometimes, like now, I have not yet forgiven completely. It's a practice, my company that I work for. But I am working through it. I know that it's only hurting myself, and I've got to move through it. Otherwise, it's a weight, an emotional weight that I will continue to carry, and that is not serving me. And that's not serving you either. Forgiveness is often something we need to choose again and again. So I want you to ask yourself, what am I still carrying? What expectation am I fighting? What resentment is costing me peace? And if you release the guilt, the blame, the expectation, then what would that make room for in your life? This week, I want you to write down one thing that you're still carrying. And then ask yourself, what is this costing me? And then, am I ready to loosen my grip? Forgiveness has never meant pretending things didn't hurt, because they do, and they have. It has meant choosing not to let pain, resentment, disappointment, or expectation keep taking up space in your life. Because the longer we carry what was, the less room we have for what could still be. And I don't want that for you. It's all within you. Forgiveness is not about rewriting what happened. It is about refusing to let it keep writing you. I hope this episode made you see something that's happening in your life a little differently, or made you understand that you're carrying around these feelings, and the minute that you're able to let them go by forgiving, your life will change. Remember, these feelings of resentment and blame, they're only hurting yourselves. Don't let that happen. Forgiveness is a practice, and I want you to start that practice right now. Oh, thank you so much for joining me today, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again next week.